morning.
Good morning.
I trust
Morning.
everybody had the most amazing Mother's Day. Uh, I put on Facebook, I thought the gift of the world the mothers bring is unconditional love. I
Mm,
believe that. Um, all right, May 11th, Toya Stevenson.
yes,
What you
yes.
know?
Oh my goodness, it's amazing. And happy belated Mother's Day to all of the wonderful moms and sub moms and everybody else that's just helped bring all of these wonderful young adults into the world.
Absolutely. I think it's such an honor to just recognize people, and it certainly is a business opportunity too to recognize those people as well as those in your personal life.
Yep.
Okay, we are officially using our new site. So we rolled it out last week or the week before or whenever it was. I don't remember at this point. And if you're not logged in, it's right now, the web address is new.therealestatestats.com. And you have to have an access code, which is Inspire Network, all lowercase, no space. And then you can just sign in. And eventually we'll drop the new and it'll go back to just the real estate stats. But we have not rolled it out to all our locations yet. So you have access and others do not at the moment. But just for our quick education, when you go to Georgia, I'm currently in weekly stats, which is what we go through on a week to week basis. But there is so much more in here from price reduction effects, new construction. There's a luxury section, there's a yearly section, and a monthly section. But I am in the weekly stats for you to pay attention or understand. Um, and the way you navigate it now is you click on the different counties. So when you click on the different counties, there is a scoreboard that shows you the weekly stats in those counties. So if I go to Fulton, everything changes based on that county. So I can also click here and export these charts if I want to put them into a presentation or use them on social media like Toya, who's a social media star. But nonetheless, let's jump into the numbers. Um, what you will see that's different is AI is now giving insights into the numbers. So, for instance, 599 active status changes has no insight, which just means neutral, right? Like it's a neutral number. The coming soon, the AI insight said, "Wow, big wow jump, up 33% from the week before." So 64 coming soons, 153 went under contract, but pendings dropped 15% to 273. Good or bad depends because you got to be able to interpret the data. Remember, end of month was last week.
Mhm.
So it may or may not totally translate because end of month numbers, right? But pendings on May 4th were 324 and then 273 as of this morning, right? So we probably closed quite a bit out at 281. And then the hold, withdrawn, and expireds are always going to be down the week after the end of the month because that's when everything expires. But if you kind of look in comparison, we were doing 17, 18, 20, 19 is pretty normal. 147 withdrawals is higher than what we were seeing. And expireds at 54, 36, 51, 59, probably pretty consistent numbers with the exceptions of the withdrawals, right? But Fulton County, Toya, what do you see?
Well, first of all, can I just say kudos to you and Luke for putting this chart together? I think it makes it just exceptionally easier for people to navigate and read. But I think we're seeing consistency in the market that is promising. And I think that going into peak season, hopefully we'll see that uptick. But I like what I am seeing in terms of just, nothing's really falling off. Everything just seems to be pretty consistent.
Absolutely. And we're in the spring market. So one of the articles we're going to jump into talks about how inventory is, excuse me, is still grown, but not at a very fast pace. Yet buyer demand is way up. So from a temperature standpoint of the marketplace, if those two things, if inventory is going up ever so slightly, but buyer demand's gone up way greater, that says the market is heating up, or months of supply should be coming down, which is that meter that determines the temperature of buyer's market, seller's market. The meter should be moving in the direction of seller's market hotter than it has been in the past. And we're going to dive in and talk a little bit deeper around what that means. But you can see the inventory number here is falling off just a little bit. We were at 673 new active status changes. It was 585 the week before, but 693 the week before that. So maybe cooled just a little bit. We just need to fact check all this stuff, right? So that's Fulton County. If I jump to DeKalb County, 301 active status changes. So same comment, 336 the week before, 300 the week before that, 372. 301 is, oh, it's decent, but it's not like gangbusters, May, lots of inventory coming on the market. 94 went under contract, which is healthy but not gangbusters. We had 2 weeks of triple digits in DeKalb, but we're back into our 90 range. We're at 172 pending, which looks very stable in DeKalb County, with 184 closed in the last 7 days. Maybe people were surprising mom with a new house, Toya. Um, that's a big jump.
Yeah.
And there was a 191 back in March, and there was a 184, but 184 here is a big closing number for DeKalb County. And then pretty normal failed listing numbers. And if I jump to Cobb County, we're looking at 371 active status changes. Same comment, like not falling off a cliff, but it's certainly slowed down a little bit. We're looking at 116 that went under contract, which triple digits is a good thing in Cobb County, like DeKalb. 116's healthy, not gangbusters, but healthy. 217 in the pending category is very healthy for Cobb County. Anything over 200, as you can see, is pretty healthy. And 214 properties closed in the last 7 days. What I find interesting, both DeKalb and Cobb closed more properties this last week, the second week of May, than they did at the end of the month. What do y'all see in the numbers? Rick, what's your wisdom? Toya, wisdom? What you got?
I mean, I wonder if it's data, processing, whether those really were last month that rolled over in the system that weren't reported accurately or on time. I like the consistency. I like the improvement. I think this is favorable and consistent, which, sometimes nothing surprising or volatile is great news.
There you go. So let me show you one other feature real quick. If you scroll to the bottom, AI is now a part of our stats presentations. So AI is taking the data and building out what insights it's seeing in the data. And each one of these you can expand to get a little more dialogue. So, like for instance, inventory supply, active stands at 371, notably lower week over week compared to this time last year. Active is sharply lower, down 43% year over year. So, if you're looking for social media content, you're looking for something to talk to your clients about, One of the things that we have a vision around is I don't know why you couldn't pull up a laptop or a iPad with a seller and pull this site up live. And the easy script is, hey, can I teach you how to read the real estate market like an agent? And go through the numbers with them and pull up these insights. And it gives you communication talking points to be able to have with your buyers and sellers throughout the process of the transaction, right? Like, Toya, we came out of a real estate market where all the houses were selling in record time. And a lot of our agents are not used to having listings sit on the market 100 days. And they run out of things to say to their sellers. I think you could very easily come here, print out the Cobb market activity with the market analysis, and that could be an email to your seller every week or a talking point with your seller, right? Anyway, just food for thought. This is the beauty of having the data live. If you're not aware, our previous site was us pulling the data and putting them into spreadsheets and graphing it. This is now completely connected and live. So, and when you do that, we can turn AI on and let AI start to give us insights based on the data, and it's just a much richer experience. Make sense?
I love it.
All right, moving on. Positive housing demand leads to inventory almost going negative year over year. So here's what you need to know. Weekly, now this is national,
Mhm.
weekly pending home sales rose almost 5,000 from 79,000 up from 74,000 a year ago. So that's saying demand has gotten higher. What's 5,000 into 79,000? I mean, that's what, little less than 10%, right? So that's a big jump
About
in
eight.
demand, showing resilient demand even with mortgage rates near yearly highs. And I'd throw in there and geopolitical events. But inventory is still grown, but it's only grown at 1.5% year over year. So demand's going up, inventory's going up, but not at the same level. So this is the temperature measure that's saying the market's actually gotten warmer. And I think you're going to start to feel it. I think you're probably experiencing some multiple offers still. I think you're probably feeling there's less inventory to look at. I think your clients need to be in tune with this and not taking too long because I think the clients have started to uh, get paralyzed by too many choices. You know, Rick, you used to talk about a game where you would make people crumble them up and they could only keep their top three or something, right? And throw it in the back seat. Like maybe we need to go there again, right?
But just realize this is also macro information and national news, and each micro or hyper local market is going to operate and function a little differently. What I like about this is it gives you context for comparison so that the national narrative, is aligned with your professionalism as a local, economist of choice. And so if this is true nationally, what does that look like? And, it's like when Al Roker on the Today Show says, and now on your neck of the woods, this is how does that really stack up relative to what you're seeing for your immediate client in your immediate community?
100%. So if I go to all counties, MLS, FMLS, and I click on pending, you can see the increase in pendings, right? Um, it's certainly rising streak 4 months, single family pendings. Condos and townhomes maybe are not having the same experience, but we have all this data to look micro now. I could even go if I wanted to go as far as to go into a specific county. Let's say I chose Cobb and I'm on pendings. You can see it, right? All time high. March 2026 for pendings. Single family, all-time high. This looks like the data is still not necessarily 100% accurate in terms of when we turned it on and started tracking, right? But it's certainly something to look at, right?
Can you click on days on market? I haven't looked at that tab yet. Just curious.
Gone
So
down to 33 for townhomes and condos. Single families at 17 as of March.
Wow. You know, the other thing that this article points out, and I think that people are getting used to, I think that they're understanding that 3% is not coming back. And so I think people are getting used to payments instead of interest rates. And I think that's promising. And maybe it's because rental rates are just as expensive as a mortgage rate. So there's optimism there with that. And maybe I think that's a part of where we're seeing the buyer surge and
Yeah.
confidence.
I mean, when Rick and I started doing these industry updates 5 years ago, that was kind of our goal, Toya, is like, look, we know we need to bring data to our people and keep them informed. But more importantly, we want to arm you with scripts, objection handling, talking points to be able to be that economist of choice, but also have the ability to talk to people about this stuff. Um, and Toya, yeah, you're referencing this article, and we can jump there for a minute.
Okay.
So there's three myths that are holding the clients back right now. And, this comes out of Keeping Current Matters, David Childers. The first myth is inventory is not about to flood the market. Um, One of the most common fears buyers have right now is what if I buy and then inventory explodes and prices drop? Well, you've seen in the data, we've talked about it. Inventory is not exploding, and there's no projection anywhere near that inventory would explode. We don't operate in a market where the flood of inventory is coming. Yes, inventory is rising slightly, but context matters. The buyer demand's actually risen faster than inventory. So there's no flood of inventory coming. And if you were at our stats presentation, we talked about how builders are going to get squeezed
Mhm.
with this geopolitical stuff. And a lot of times, the builders are kind of the savior of inventory, if you will, um, because they can fix the inventory problems more than residential resale can, and they're just not going to do it. Their costs are getting high, their margins have gotten thin. They're going to sit on new construction, not zero, but they're not going to go gangbusters anytime soon. Was there a question?
No, I just think somebody's phone was
Okay.
mute.
somebody glitched
So
in.
this is the first myth. The second myth is mortgage rates aren't going back to 3%. Toya, you're right. So the second major hesitation they're saying is I'll wait until rates drop. His answer is mortgage rates are the lowest they've been in the last 3 years. You can pull a mortgage chart and show people that the rate today is considerably lower than what it was over the last 3 years. So that gives them like a feeling of permission, a feeling of, oh, I am winning on some regard, right? But the other thing you could do is show them these projections. So one of the things I like about this is these are third party people that I think your customers would trust.
Mhm.
Instead of it being your opinion, you could say, let me show you what the experts are projecting. So Fannie Mae, by the end of this year, is projecting 6.1. Mortgage Bankers Association by the end of this year is projecting 6.2. Wells Fargo is projecting 6.2. Average of all three, 6.16. However, caution. That could, if I just showed them that, they'd go, well, then I'll wait.
Absolutely. I was just about to
But
say
you
that.
can't have this conversation without a conversation around price appreciation.
Mhm.
and say, listen, you're going to lose waiting on this rate and pay for it in asking price. Because the prices are going to appreciate faster than this rate's going to come down.
In addition to that, Brett, I would add competition. You're having a lot more competition in the house that you would love to buy today. You need to buy today because you may have, bidding wars and lose in terms of being, outbid for the price that you may want and the property that you may ultimately want to have.
Yep. And then the third one is prices went up, so they have to come down. Well, I think people think about this, but the thought, if you get a client that calls you and says, hey, Rick Hale, I'm looking for a deal, how would you handle that?
Explain what a deal looks like or
Yeah.
help me with some. I would immediately seek curiosity and understand their motivation and, timing. How long do you plan to hold it? What price point? What area or geography? What's the attraction to a certain area? What's the lifestyle experience? You could go 18 levels deep, and that their idea of a deal might be the perfect house at retail because it serves a higher purpose.
Yeah, 100%. And I think you can show them price appreciation, right?
You could
Uh,
certainly calm their nerves around, the long-term trajectory.
and where would you do that? You can go straight into our site and start to show average list price, right? Like our average sales price. Um, and you can see, yes, single family was at 515 last summer and currently was selling around 465. So that might look like price depreciation, but you have to know houses sell for the highest sales price in the summertime. So
Mhm.
this is going to go nowhere but up between now and summer. Um, anyway, you can pull all this data live with your client and use it, right? All
It's
right.
awesome.
Spirit Airlines. So Jeff Glover wrote an article and he put it on Facebook, and then Inman picked it up. And I actually very much align with this article. So let me explain where he's going and then tell you what it means. So Spirit Airlines started in Detroit, Michigan, and they had a bread and butter client. Their bread and butter client was they wanted a low cost airfare and they didn't mind paying for extras because they had a choice on whether they paid for extras. Um, Yet, what happened was in the 2010s, Spirit decided to break its model and it insisted on being more like other airlines. It stopped charging for carry ons, water and refreshments were included. It also included a first class big front seat and it stopped poking fun at itself. And they used to say, hey, if you want good service here, yeah, you got to pay extra for that. um, but they had a bread and butter model and they had a bread and butter client and they were profitable and successful. And then they thought, hey, we need to shift our model. By the way, Southwest Airlines is doing the same thing right now. Just FYI, they're shifting their model. And the analogy here in real estate is most agents build their real estate business with a bread and butter client. And all agents at some point in time start thinking thoughts like, hey, I want to focus on luxury, or I want to focus on a different demographic, a different geographic. I want to expand to Florida. I want to, like all these thoughts agents have. But what his argument is, if you just go deeper with your bread and butter, your stability and your profits will be the best you'll ever realize versus letting the wide model or the changing your model be Rick, we talked about it on Mojo Monday. It's the difference of evolution versus trying to reinvent yourself, right? Um, and his argument is it took Spirit down.
Mhm.
And I think that the lesson here for us in real estate, man, find your bread and butter and go as deep as you can with your bread and butter. What do you think?
They lost sight of who their avatar was, and then they tried to become all things to all people. And if they lost their marketing magic or their unique selling proposition by trying to again diversify into all segments. And that's risky. And especially when they had a lane that was working. I didn't realize they were around for 30 plus years. I don't typically fly Spirit, but my guess is because of the enhancements, they had to charge more. And then Delta and some of the Highline,
Picked off
better
their customers.
experiential airlines became, hey, for a few bucks more, their defining unique difference wasn't discernible anymore.
And I think the other thing that this speaks to is, as so many times as real estate professionals, we want to do commercial, we want to do luxury, we want to do residential, we want to do it all. And I think this is saying stay in your niche, find it, stay in there, and go all in with it.
Yeah. Stick to your core genius and know who your avatar is.
Mhm.
There you go. All right. I'm going to hit this one. Uh, this is an article that's, I just think our job is to keep you informed of like things going on in the industry. Um, I talked 2 weeks ago. There's two MLSs, this MRED out of Chicago and Nashville's Real Tracks that are making plays to accept subscribers nationwide. And then Refkin came out and said, we're bringing MRED national, as well as it will be just a select number of MLSs that are pro seller choice, where we're going to give them all of our listings, where we're going to subsidize our agents joining. It's not that I want to create a national MLS to replace local MLSs. I want to create a national MLS to compete against local MLSs. Read between the lines on that. Here's the thing. I'm going to give you my opinion and then let's discuss. I think there could be benefit if we had a Georgia statewide MLS, which we kind of do, right? Um, but you're still licensed by a state. And what's the motivation behind this? I think publicly they're saying it's consumer choice. I think the true motivation behind this is they're trying to take our data back and they're trying to make technology plays. So I get it. Like if you're a big brokerage like Keller Williams or Compass and you want to do a technology path, having to deal with 100 different MLSs and policies and guidelines, and it's an annoying factor. Just our real estate stats, we had to deal with 4 different MLSs just to get the data into that thing. And it was annoying. And poor Luke, he didn't have hair, but he pulled any hair left out. And so I think that the motivation's not exactly clear, but there is a movement or a attempt to make MLS more national. Now, commercial has done that already. Like CoStar, you used to only be able to buy the local CoStar data. And now when you subscribe to CoStar, you get national data. I don't know if this has legs or not. I know there's a lot of opinions around it. I'm just informing you if you're on an MLS board or a board of realtors, this is a topic of conversation and you need to be aware. That's all. Any thoughts before I move on?
It is about controlling the data and it's about controlling the rules. It has nothing to do with consumers, in my humble opinion. Consumers don't go to the MLS, but they sell the data to the disseminators of, like Zillow and Realtor.com and the list goes on and on. So I think it's a money play at the end of the day and a rules play so that they can establish what's acceptable or not acceptable in terms of pre-list or pre-sale or, early release listings.
Yeah.
That's my best guess.
Yeah. Just keeping you in the loop. All right. Two other things. I've been talking about this for a while, Toya. Realtor.com is continuing to get better and grow. And their reports keep showing that they're doing better and better. And they've got this arrow going up. Here's what I would say. It could be a lead source for people. It could be a business opportunity. I think a lot of people used to lean into realtor.com and then bailed on it.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking it may be a good lead source in the future. And I'm just keeping it on everybody's radar because I keep reading articles about how they're doing better and better and better.
Does that imply the does that imply the platform is better, or they've just figured out cost saving strategies for profitability?
I don't know the answer to that, Rick.
I think that in this particular article, they're just saying that they have an app that makes information easier, that aims towards that pre-searching and staging. So it's driving more people to their platform, and that's what's making them go up in their trajectory.
All right. Last but not least, AI is going so stinking fast. So this is actually about builders. There is an AI agent. So in the past, builders would acquire land, and then the agent or some economic analysis would have to go in and research zoning and easements and all kinds of stuff about that land. Builders are starting to use AI now to analyze tracts of land. And they're putting it into AI, and AI is saying, this is what you can do, this is probability, this is, and it's building out business plans. All I'm saying is not that you need to be aware that builders are doing this, but you better believe AI is going fast, and we're going to have more and more and more analysis tools in the near future. So we've already started with our real estate stats, um, and it's going to get very robust over time. Make sense? Final thoughts?
Hey, I think that this is the market to crush it. I am optimistic as always as far as going into peak season. So this is the time. We've got a lot of information that we can use from our new stats platform. And I think that that's the part where we can actually present ourselves as the expert within our industry. So thanks for kudos to you and Luke for doing that.
Yep. We're moving fast.
Yeah.
Have a good one, guys.
Take care.